Good morning, Mr. Speaker. My name is Lukins and I represent North East Scotland. The vote for 16 and 17-year-olds should be allowed in all elections and referendums. We can work, we pay taxes, we can join the army. Yet we don't have the right to have our voices heard in the decision-making of our own country, and that is unfair. A young person from Dundee said, "A lot of adults are ignorant about how they vote," and it's true, but a lot of young people are equally ignorant. And why? Because we are taught what we need to make. We need to be taught to make informed decisions. If we want to change that, we need proper political education and the right to vote. Look at Scotland. 75% of 16 and 17-year-olds voted in the 2014 Scottish independent referendum. And more recent research shows that voters' turnout is higher amongst those who voted from the age of 16 or 17. This proves that young people are ready and engaged when given the chance. It's time for the rest of the UK to follow suit. Let's trust young people with our future. We deserve a say in our decisions, in the decisions that affect us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Matthew Quinn from West Scotland. I respect the aspiration of the motion. I think it's a well-written motion. I just want to provide an alternative point, and that point is this. We have to reflect on what makes young people employable, and the reality is often it is because they are cheap labour. Now, we can disagree with that, we can take exception to that. That's okay. I would argue we should take exception to that. But we have to be aware that by being able to employ young people for less, it keeps young people employed. It ensures that youth unemployment is low, which we're seeing across the UK right now, and it ensures that young people have opportunities for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Catriona and I represent Central Scotland. I'd like to tell you all about a constituent of mine who helps his family pay for groceries. They live in poverty and he works minimum wage. He is lucky compared to others. His family can survive without his wage, even if it was hard. Others can't. Why should families who don't have enough money to survive have to rely on children who aren't getting paid enough themselves? Everybody should be paid enough to survive. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Deputy. Travel is a detrimental part of a young person's daily life, whether it's school, work, university, or even just a social life. Transport is essential, but for many of us, it's also too expensive. Right now, the cost of transport is a barrier. Young people are expected to study, work and contribute to society, and many face issues due to the price of travel. Free transport would change that. In Scotland, we have a Young Scot card, and honestly, it has saved my life. I'm a 45-minute train journey to school every single day, and when my mum isn't working at the school, I have to take that bus. Sorry, it's a bus journey, just put that out there. 45 minutes. I study, but that is so expensive for those who are not able to pay for that. If you lose your Young Scot card, it usually takes a few weeks to come back, and you're left paying for that transport for no reason. Free transport would also reduce traffic, cut carbon emissions, and encourage more young people to use greener travel options. As I said, Scotland already offers this. Some people may say it's too expensive, but investing in the future for young people, investing in the young people is investing in the future. If we want a fairer and greener future, free transport for young people is a massive step in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I am Jamie and I represent the Highlands and Islands in Scotland. In Scotland, every young person is entitled to a Young Scot card, which allows young people to access free buses around Scotland. Why is it limited to buses and at that Scottish buses? Speaking from experience, not all young people have easy access to bus stops and stations, and sometimes have to pay even more than 1 hour of working at national minimum wage, around £12 to get to the nearest city from my town, just to get to work, to see friends, family, or travelling to an education facility. This needs fixed. All young people over the United Kingdom deserve the right to free transport, no matter if it is a bus, a train or a ferry. We need to work together as young representatives to make transport free for all of our constituents.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. When people hear the word politics, it is in their nature to immediately assume that party politics is being discussed, as opposed to the general public's good. However, the meaning of politics goes beyond this common misconception. Political literacy can be defined as where a person has the knowledge, skills and attitude to allow them both to understand and know how to engage in public events and debates. As I'm standing in a room among so many passionate young people, it is safe to assume that we all possess a fairly good amount of it because of our personal interests. However, which is commendable in absence of equalised teaching. However, that is not an expectation of how all young people should be introduced to political literacy due to its inaccessibility. I would like to emphasise the word standardised in the motion. What is being sought here is a levelling of the academic field amongst all young people from different socio-economic backgrounds to be able to meaningfully be part of the proposed classes, so that sentiment can transcend into the adulthood and our society, where that knowledge learned in the classrooms would be put to good use. Democracy is our fundamental right. However, there's been a decline in its support, and that is to our peril. We have been so accustomed to its existence that we fail to act upon its defence when it's under threat. And there is no better way to do such by installing a belief so important and creating the appropriate space for them to critically develop their own opinions of what that should look like. Failure to do so will result in the attack of our rights, something that people would not be aware of without our knowledge. There cannot be a price put on education, morality, or passion. To end apathy of our society runs, we must instill its importance in the classroom. By prioritising this motion, we are preserving and legitimising our democratic process, the core of our society. I urge the members to carefully think of the advantages that it will bring to our nations and to look beyond the initial words presented. This is not a battle of what party is most prominent in the classroom. It's about being able as a young person to criticise, evaluate, and most importantly, understand their policies and also the system they operate in.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. My name is Conor MacLeod and I'm a representative for Central Scotland. I'm in strong support of this motion because a strong democracy needs informed young people. If we expect young people to take part of democratic decisions, they need the knowledge to do so. In Scotland, modern studies already takes part in political literacy. With modern studies, if I didn't mention there. But we must need a united kingdom, not a divided kingdom. Every young person, no matter where they live, should deserve political literacy, with some areas throughout the UK having votes for 16. I consulted teachers, and they agree. Education should empower young people, not push agendas. And political literacy builds critical thinking, responsibility, and real engagement. So, young people, it's time to see an education reform in our country so we can have the better opportunity for young people to have votes for 16 with better knowledge and better decisions. Thank you very much.